Welcome back to the Puck Bunker. I'm Rocco Zappia, joined as always by the man who was allegedly once abducted by aliens, only to report back, at least they're not as bad as Leafs fans, Darren Boyce. How you doing this evening?
Looking forward to the Leafs season. Real excited for it.
Yes, Darren Boyce, noted Leafs supporter. We are going to continue diving into the 2026 NHL Draft class, and today we are going to take a look at two of the premier right-handed defensemen available in this next class, Keaton Verhoeff and Chase Reid. These two guys, I would say, by many outlets, would be the top two right-handed defensemen available. No shade at Jackson Rudolph, amongst others. But most places have these two guys kind of ranked as the top two right-handed defensemen, so we figure that's a good place to start. Darren's going to take a look at Chase Reid, and I'm going to take a look at Keaton Verhoeff. Boys, just before we really get into it, I mean, do you have issue with calling them the top two ranked guys so far?
Right now, I do think that Chase Reid has a lot of potential. Well, we're going to talk about it, but I mean, Chase Reid might not be as big a divide between these two guys by the end of the year. And I think that's where I'm going to go with this. We could see one of these guys jumping a lot if he has a good season. Let's just say that.
I don't necessarily disagree. However, I would say that Verhoeff right now is the consensus top ranked guy, so I think that's maybe a good place to start. He was with the Victoria Royals 24-25, and that's where we did the majority of our viewings. I mean, we watched obviously the U18s that happened more recently. Watched those as well, and he was pretty good there. We'll talk about that. But 21 goals and 45 points in 63 games last year with Victoria. He's going to the University of North Dakota next year, which I'm sure we will have some discussion on later on, because that's something that I am curious to see how that goes. But we're looking at a 6'4", 212 pound. My goodness, what a large boy. At 17 years old, just turned 17 on June 19th from Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. So you know he's probably tough as nails. He's kind of ranked as a consensus top guy right now. He has plus attributes really across the board. I don't know necessarily if we're looking at an elite offensive defenseman, but I think it's a guy that is pretty much grades as plus across the board without really any major red flags. His skating, I think, is very, very strong for his age. For his age and his size, I think his skating is excellent. I think there's room for him to get faster. I wouldn't call him elite speed, but I do see the potential for that to be the case in the future, just based on his stride and his fluidity. He's a very natural-looking skater. I think he has pretty excellent four-way mobility. Again, we're looking at videos from his 16-year-old season at 6'4". I was quite impressed with his four-way mobility. His gap control, I thought was excellent. He could close it and open it as needed. He could bait guys in with a bigger gap and shrink it really quick and make a steal that way, which was very impressive. The defensive wherewithal to be able to do that at his age, I thought was very impressive. Notable as well, despite the fact that I don't necessarily see him as someone who's having elite speed, I also didn't really see anyone beating him wide on any occasion whatsoever. So that was something that I took note of, because, you know, wasn't the fastest guy on the ice, but was as fast as any on coming forward, and could adjust his speed accordingly to match the speed changes of some of the better forwards, which I thought was very, very impressive from a defensive standpoint. His shot is extremely, extremely powerful. He got 21 goals last year for a reason. He looks to unload it whenever he can. He's got fantastic one-timer when he gets it off. I would say that you may want to see a little more consistency in terms of the placement of the shots. It could be not always the most accurate and sometimes more. Remember Wild Thing? Wild Thing, the baseball closer. He's kind of slap shots, kind of like Wild Thing pitches a little bit, but when he's on, my goodness, he can put the puck through the meshing almost. Puck skills. I thought his puck skills looked quite good in spurts. I've seen him make some very, very good small area plays where he can pull the puck kind of through a pair of skates or make a really impressive tight area dangle. But then he'll completely miff one, kind of unforced error. I don't know that he's an elite puck carrier. The puck movement was inconsistent. That's probably the word that I would use. It's consistency with the puck skills and the playmaking for me. At times it looked very, very good. Again, some small area hands plays that he made and some really nice passes and some really crisp passes. But there was other times that be under a little bit of pressure and kind of throwing in skates. And I started consistently seeing some issues in terms of the accuracy with his puck movement, not hitting guys on the tape, not hitting guys in stride. That was a little bit concerning for a guy that we're going to be talking about in the top 5, and at this point a lot of people are saying is be ranked number 2. I'd like to see the consistency with the playmaking and the puck movement to come a little bit, especially under pressure. I thought that, although again, at times he looked great under pressure, and then other times would be just head scratcher. Offensive hockey sense, I think he knows how to activate very well and get open for shot attempts. He does know how to find ways to use his shot. I don't know that this is an elite offensive player at the NHL level. I maybe see him in more of a supporting role offensively and more of a traditional two-way guy. More than anything, I think his strengths, his true strengths and his bread and butter are going to be in the defensive end. That said, he does pinch well. He makes pretty good decisions on his pinches. I do find that he has trouble with secondary reads if his first option's not there. I've seen examples of him kind of forcing the issue, forcing the play, which can lead to turnovers and losing the puck. And I don't want to say necessarily a lack of creativity, but sort of just keying in on the first good option that he sees, and if it's taken away, there's not really an ability to make a secondary decision there, other than kind of putting the puck just back in the corner, which is fine at times because you're not giving it away, but that's not what you would typically see from an elite offensive player. Very, very poised and steady defensively, doesn't get caught chasing, stays in really good positions, really good leverage in his battles and the net front. He defends the front of the net very, very well. He's strong down low. He's very strong for a 16-year-old kid. I noticed that he was muscling older players, 18, 19-year-olds off the puck, no problem, not phased by that facet of the game whatsoever. And I would say, I would even say he excels, especially for his age. I mentioned earlier, his gaps and his ability to defend the rush are fantastic. His cycle defending is very, very good as well. But the size and the skating really, really come into play here in the defensive end. And again, he's quite strong and he does read the defensive game as well as any defender I've seen of the 30 guys or so I've scouted so far this year. So very, very, very impressed from what you see in the defensive zone from a 16-year-old defender in the games that we watched anyways. Solid work rate throughout the viewing. No concerns here for me with the compete and the effort level. He's not flying through the boards a la Brady Martin, but he certainly doesn't take his foot off the gas. I have no questions or issues here. I watched some of his playoff games. I saw what I expected to see. Physicality, very good physicality in terms of being strong in dirty area battles, but he didn't actually throw his body around too much in the games that I watched. I would like to see him be a little more physical in terms of actually throwing body checks. He has the frame to do that and the size, so I think that should be more of an asset for him than it is, but that's something that can come along. And again, I'm looking at a 16-year-old kid in these viewings. So the size, skating, and shot combination with this player are excellent. I don't know that the speed is elite, but this is an excellent set of tools to work with. The puck movement does need a little bit of refining. again, namely in terms of the accuracy with his passes, can make some unforced giveaways or icings that don't need to happen. But excellent defender, excellent in front of the net, excellent shot. I think this projects as an all situations two-way defender. Again, my question here is the true offensive upside, and is this elite, and are we looking at a guy who can run a first power play? I'm not sure that we are. However, I'm pretty sure that we're looking at a guy that's going to be able to play on a first penalty kill, has a size and skating to play on a first pair at 5-on-5. And I think you're going to get maybe some secondary offense or some port offense, or maybe he's on your second power play sort of thing, or he's in a trigger spot to use that shot, because the tools are there. But yeah, that's Keaton Verhoeff, someone that is a very, very, very toolsy player that I'm excited to see how this transition goes for him from CHL to NCAA. He's one of the more notable guys who are taking this approach. Obviously, Gavin McKenna is the biggest name doing this, but Keaton Verhoeff, I wonder what sort of offensive numbers we see from this guy going from the CHL to NCAA. It's not going to. I don't think he's going to score 21 goals again. Obviously, they're playing half the games. He's not going to score 21 goals. But I wonder if he's going to get those same offensive looks that he did in the CHL, or if he's going to be given more, let's call them well-rounded or even defensive minutes, and how that may affect his draft stock. So those are my thoughts, Boyce. I'll let you jump in and add to that at this point.
I'll come back to the NCAA portion of that, but a couple things. I agree with what you said regarding his straightforward speed. It's not bad, like it's good. I feel like there's another level to it, though. I feel like he can get a step better. He isn't really threatening guys off the rush. I mean, he's not. So again, just comparing, some defensemen, I don't see where he's creating zone entries himself. I don't see where he's threatening other teams with his speed and handling, offensively. I don't see where his speed is, causing problems, but it's not a problem in terms of he's a liability. So I would say it's above average right now. I think his feet are a little bit heavy at the moment, but again, he's 16 and never gets beat defensively. So, I mean, it's obviously not bad. There's probably room for it to get better. But do I think he's going to be someone in the NHL who's going to be causing problems with his feet? Probably not. But again, it's still solid, and it kind of goes into what you said, that he's kind of above average at everything. I think that's kind of what you're looking at here. One thing I did like about his skating, though, he's quite strong on his feet, really good center of gravity. Can tell he's strong already. Pivots really well. I mean, he's very balanced. So even, kind of, again, you talked about the physicality. He probably could be more physical because he's so balanced and strong. He doesn't try to do that as often, but I mean, there's again a template here where this guy can be very hard to play against. So I like that part of it too. Again, do I think he has the best edge work of everyone we've seen, the last couple of years? No. But if you go with he's 6'4", 210 and a right-hand shot, it's really good. It's definitely above average, and it's definitely NHL level, and it's definitely effective at NHL level, even at 16. So what's that going to look like at 20, 21? I think there's you're definitely very excited about that. I mean, his best asset, though, you said it, is his defensive skill. He's a very good defender. He never gets beat. I noticed that too. Playing against good teams too. I mean, watch him in playoffs playing against Spokane, and he's playing very well out there as a 16-year-old against a really high-quality offensive team. He's not getting beat out there. He's kind of the one pushing them to the outside. He's causing them to, make decisions and change plays up. It's not the other way around, which is very noteworthy. So I like that portion of it. I mean, his physicality is good. He can eliminate guys if he wants to. He just has to want to do it. I wonder if that's an age thing. I'm not sure. I mean, he's a lot younger. Now, I'm going to compare this player. Some people will get mad at me. It's fine. Sam Dickinson was 16 years old. He was a 6'3", like 200-pound guy and he's kind of a man child playing out there, and he played a lot of minutes. And he's better than him. And I thought Sam Dickinson was really good at 16. So, like, I mean, that says that he's better offensively. He has a bit more, I think he has a bit more offensive game than him. And I think he's a better defender than him in terms of he doesn't run around a lot. I think he actually tries to eliminate guys a bit more than him too. So that's kind of the low water mark I have for him. Like, he's going to be a very high pick that a team will very much like. Now, I do compare them a bit offensively, though, in terms of I don't think either of those guys per se are number one power play guys in the NHL. So I don't think Verhoeff is going to be a number one power play guy in the NHL. I don't think he makes decisions quick enough. I don't think his passing is great. And he just fires shots at people. And I hate that. So that's the issue. Again, I like guys who can find lanes and don't just try and pound it through guys all the time. I think there's a skill set to that. I think it creates a lot of chances for guys to do that. He doesn't really do that. I also don't see a premium puck mover here.
He almost shoots like Dion.
Well, yeah, you guess, yeah.
Just a pure bomb through the back of the net.
Yeah. Now, again, I don't see a premium puck mover either, as in he's going to create a ton of chances off his puck moving from the defensive zone. And now, so again, I think that does limit his offense at the NHL level. So again, he's not going to be, again, it goes back to this. So he's not going to be a liability. Like, he will get some points. He can probably play on a second power play. Will he be on the first power play? I would say no. His bread and butter will be his defense, but he can. This is a guy that could, again, play 25, 30 minutes a night if he really develops in that premier offensive defense and gets 40, 50 points. Like, that's kind of what you're looking at here. He would need the puck moving to improve. I don't even think it's really the offensive ability. I think the key thing for him is more physicality and just puck moving from the defensive zone.
I don't know how much creativity there is with the puck offensively.
Sorry?
I'm not sure how much creativity there is with the puck offensively.
It doesn't have to be creativity, though. It just needs to be simple, solid plays.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say, he makes good decisions. Like, I don't think he actually makes bad decisions a lot of the time. He doesn't execute things. And again, I'm okay with a guy who makes the right decision and doesn't execute, especially at 16, than I am with a guy who just makes terrible decisions all the time. So that's good. Like, he has a lot of NHL habits, even defensively too. He has good NHL. He's a really good stick. He has high flip ability, and his pinch decisions are really good and strong. And like, he commits to them, and he commits to them well, and he's successful at a very high rate.
I agree with that.
So this is a very high end prospect, especially because he's a right-hand shot. So I think the fact that he's a right-hand shot and this good, I mean, look, Gavin McKenna I think he's going to be the first pick. Listen, I heard this I was listening to another NHL kind of pod today, and they were talking about how NHL teams cannot find number one defensemen. They cannot find them. The only way they get them is by drafting them. So it's just a thought process. Like, this guy could legitimately be a number one defenseman. Like, there is that capability here to be a number one all situation type D.
Yeah.
Like, his flaw, I'm not even calling it a flaw. The thing he needs to work on still is his offensive game, basically, and just general pushing offense.
And it's already decent. It's
already fine. He scored 21 goals. So it's not bad. Like, again, I'm not, and again, that's the thing. I rank it. It's like, it's above average. Like, it's still better than, like, we looked at all these 6'4" right-hand defensemen this year that, we thought were, late first, early seconds. A lot of these guys had very limited offensive ability.
0. Yes.
He has offensive ability. So
sure.
So we're in a good spot already. Now I do want to talk about the college thing with him. I do worry, and I said this with McKenna too, but I worry even more with him. He's 17. He's 17, where McKenna's a year older than him, or he's born in a different year. He is not going to get I'm going to flat out say he's not going to get the offensive situations that he was going to get in the CHL.
Well, that's my thing is I wonder if that affects his offensive development.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
Put it to me that way.
I got to put it to you this way. I think for his draft stock, I actually think the CHL would have been better for him because he would put up a boatload of points and probably be a massive shutdown guy against a lot of teams. Like I'm talking probably get 70, 80 points, like impossible to play with, like probably the best defenseman in the WHL or one of them. Fair to say?
Yeah.
Like it's not, I don't think that's unrealistic. You know,
I think he would tear it up if he stayed in the CHL.
Yeah. Now he's going to go to college where he's challenging himself. I think it will be better for his development to be playing against bigger guys because I do think he's maxed out physically. Again, he's not really going to get challenged physically in the CHL, where he will get challenged physically in the NCAA.
Well, yes. So the thing that's the balance, right? Because in the CHL, he's going in and he's going to be this year, even as a draft eligible, probably going to be the best player on the ice most nights, if not one of the top 2 players on the ice most nights. So if you can go play against better players, that's probably better for your long-term development. It's more of a challenge. However, conversely, does that affect your short-term draft stock? And further to that, do you even give a shit? Or are you just more really concerned about the long game here because you know you're going to be a high pick no matter what?
So one thing that we're going to need to keep in account, and I think a lot of other people are, and we need to stay true to this, is that his offensive numbers might not look how they should. It's a possibility, and it still, to me, shouldn't affect his draft stock because he's chosen to challenge himself against guys maybe even 4 or 5 years old.
Well, here's the thing: like we've seen the offense from him already at the CHL level. You know it's there. I'm going to be more so looking for: are your passes getting more accurate? Are you able to hit guys in stride better? Can you make quicker decisions with the puck under pressure? Like those, which are all things that you will be able to see if they improve because you're going to see those things regardless of who he's playing against. Those traits will show themselves as improved or not. And we've already seen that he can score 21 goals. We know he's got a bomb shot when he's put in the situation. Yeah. So maybe it doesn't hurt his draft stock because if you can improve on those other things that we talked about, that's actually what you're looking for.
Yeah, like if he, like, a thing to look for him in college is just, again, breakout passing under pressure, decisions under pressure against bigger guys at a faster pace. That's what you're looking at here. If that improves, there's no reason this guy can't. He legitimately could play in the NHL at 19.
I think that'd be a mistake.
No, he would have one more year of college after this, then he played at 19. Absolutely could.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because if he, again, he's gonna he can be pro ready at 19. That's again the skill set. The NHL skill set is here. It's working on these details, and then I wonder if a team wants him to grow his offense, which I'm not sure the NCAA is the best level for that. Of him at a 17-year-old at a pretty good program.
The second year
battling for it was going to be battling for ice time. That's what I worry about. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. But this is a high level player. There's a lot of good potential here. Good floor here too. I think at worst, this is a top 4 defenseman. If he doesn't pan out.
The floor here, yeah. So the floor here is exceptionally high.
Here's a guy who's going to play in the league for probably a long time. So
yeah, I mean, I think you're looking at 1,000-game defenseman if he stays healthy.
Sure,
if he stays healthy. Like
sure.
Why? You just said he could play at 19,
yeah.
Darren.
That's what I mean. Sure, absolutely.
15-year career, 16-year career.
I mean, he could be Cody Ceci and play 1,300 games.
I think he's a little better than Cody Ceci, but
Cody Ceci was a good prospect. But yes, he's a better prospect than him.
I thought he was overrated as a prospect, but he ended up playing 1,000 games plus, so I was obviously wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Keaton Verhoeff. Boyce, do you want to get into to your guy?
Sure. All right. So we got Chase Reid. And he's from the Sioux Greyhounds, so it is noteworthy he's an 07 birthday, late 07, December 30th. So he's technically in the 2007 class, but he's young for that age. Now, his height is listed all over the place at a lot of sites. I believe he's 6'2", 6'3" from what I've seen live. I am going to go with that. So again, right-hand shot defenseman. Now he's 185 pounds, not as filled out as Verhoeff. Played for the Sioux Greyhounds. Again, I think he signed in December with them. So played 39 games, had 40 points, 7 goals, 33 assists. Was a plus player for them, which is noteworthy because they weren't that good of a team. So again, I would like to point that out that is actually quite, he was very productive for them. Did okay in the playoffs too. Had 3 points in 5 games. He was -1, maybe whatever. He played well. I mean, I've seen him in multiple situations. I thought he played pretty well, especially against good teams. His skills kind of held up. So I'll start here. His skating, his straightforward speed, it's very deceiving how fast he actually is. You don't really see it doesn't look like he's really moving that hard, but he just kind of blows by guys a lot, especially on the rush when he gets moving. He can create zone entries kind of at will, which is, again, we're talking about a 6'3" right-hand defenseman who can handle the puck and get into the zone. That's interesting. Now, I do want to point out, I actually don't think his edge work is that great yet. He struggles with pivots and he gets flat-footed a lot. So he also struggles changing directions. So there's an improvement here that's needed. I think it's strength related, but that's the improvement that he needs is his edge work of his skating because he's really fast going forwards and backwards. Now, speaking of the getting beat part, if he's just skating forwards and backwards, he doesn't get beat by guys. So I think the potential is there for a good rush defender. The problem is when he gets going on crossovers and that's when he kind of gets caught or he gets caught off balance. So that needs to improve. But again, young player, I think that's improvable. In terms of his shooting, I actually liked him shooting the puck better than Verhoeff. Did he have a better shot? Maybe by strength? No. But I thought he had a pretty dangerous one-timer. He has a good wrist shot from the point, and he finds lanes a lot. He gets a lot of pucks to net on the power play. Gets a lot of points by doing that. Legitimately, I think this guy has the ability to play on an NHL power play and be an effective NHL power play guy. He moves the puck well. He moves the puck quickly. He finds lanes, and he doesn't I don't want to say he doesn't overthink things. Puck's on his stick and off his stick, and he makes good decisions with it on the power play. Now, again, we're talking about a 6'3" right-hand defenseman who can play on the power play now, who can skate. So we're already at a good spot here. So this is good. Puck handling. He actually handles the puck quite well, especially, again, 6'3" right-hand defenseman who handles the puck well. This is interesting now. So he handles passes really well, receives them really well, gets them off his stick well. He can make guys miss in space with his speed. And again, I already said he's actually quite fast as a bigger guy. Okay. So I haven't really seen a guy who can handle the puck at his size, at least in the last couple drafts. If I think he's 6'3", I haven't seen that yet. Like he kind of handles the puck a bit like, well, let's just say it. Does a lot of zone entries like Cameron Reid, and he's bigger than him. So,
well, Yakimchuk's hands in his draft were about as sick
way better skater, though.
Yes, he is.
Yakimchuk
was the big man with better hands, though. That's the
sure, but this guy can make guys miss. Like he's making guys miss with his hands at speed.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's at a high speed. That's a very high end skill set. Thought his passing was fine. He actually does make pretty good breakout passes. He makes good hard passes, and he gets the puck moving quickly. His issue right now is some of his decision making is poor. He will make a decision and it's just a really bad one. And the thing that he needs to get off of his game is the really bad breakdown or two that he has every game. That's the issue he has. The rest of the game is great. It's just he has one or two really bad, basically breakout passes every game. That's the flaw with him right now. If he can work that consistently out of his game, this is going to be a defenseman that a lot of teams are interested in, because guys who can move the puck and get the rush going quickly, that leads to a lot of goal scoring opportunities in the NHL, especially 5-on-5, and there's not a lot of goal scoring opportunities 5-on-5. If your D can create from that, from the defensive zone and get the puck moving quickly, like, okay, like this is an interesting guy here. Look, the other thing with him too that he needs to improve on, he's not physical. That's what concerns me. And I wonder if he just hasn't learned his body yet, or if he needs to realize that he's bigger than other guys. I'm not sure. But I've seen him throw hits, and he can actually manhandle a guy when he does do it, but he just doesn't do it. So that needs to improve. I would like to see him throw guys around and use his strength more. This is a guy, though, if he has a really good offseason in the gym, could come back, just be an absolute freak. I think there's a possibility with this. Now, again, he has to have done the work, but there's a possibility this guy comes back just a lot stronger and a way different hockey player, which is a possibility here. So overall, I mean, the package is really good because you see the high-end traits here. There's just a lot more growth that needs to happen with his game versus a Verhoeff. You need to see the potential with this guy more. Because again, you have a bigger guy. I think he's going to be listed probably at 6'3". You have a bigger guy who can skate, who can move the puck. Like, there is the potential of being a good rush defender here, just with how fast he is forwards and backwards. You work on that edge work, you work on that strength, and you actually become a bit more of a physical presence and utilize it more. Like, this guy could move up draft boards quite easily. The package, again, we've talked about it. These teams, there's no right-hand defenseman. All these organizations need them. So I like him, but I think this is a guy we really need to see what he looks like after the offseason, because this is a guy who has the potential to come, again, as I said, come back and be a far better player, and a guy who could get better as the year goes on. But this could also be a guy, again, you never know. Some guys fall off and maybe he just keeps making poor decisions all the time, and that would force him down. But I thought he looked pretty good on a poor team in the OHL, and he performed pretty well. And he gave a lot of teams problems when not a lot of defensemen in the league gave other teams problems. So I liked him.
I think the high end here with him is excellent. There's a lot of upside. I think if things come along, like you said, he showed it in flashes. He'll tease you with, like you said, can kind of blow by a guy offensively, or really does have a bomb of a shot. If he can round out the kind of errors there, I think you're looking at a very, very, very highly touted player that'll be, by the time it's all said and done, probably a slam dunk top 10 pick. The big thing with the 07s here, like the late birthdays this year, right? You want to see that progression, because all these guys who were 16, from 16 to 17 in their draft year, we're going to probably see them all take a big step, but you don't always see it with I don't want to call them overagers, but the late birthday guys, sometimes there's a risk that they plateau there because they have had an extra development year. So as long as we're seeing some progression from him, then I think we're looking at a top 10 pick. That said, he set a pretty high standard last year, and if he goes out and has 70 points this year in 65 games or whatever, you wonder if that's starting to stall. But look, I really liked him. I got to see him live a couple times last year, and then obviously we've rescouted him here in the last couple weeks several times as well. I really like what I see from from him. I think that there's a ton of tools here. You mentioned that he doesn't look like he's moving that fast, and then he blows by guys. This guy is like, he's like gazelle-like on his skates. Like, he's a very natural skater. He looks like he should be on skates. Like, I'm like, yeah, that guy's a fucking skater. Doesn't have to have his legs moving 100 miles an hour to generate a ton of power in his stride. And like you said, there's still room to get stronger there. So what does that look like if you get a guy that's, oh, we're just going to spend a whole nother fucking year talking about right-handed defenseman until someone gets the point. But so you get a 6'3" right-handed defenseman who can skate like that and has that kind of puck game when it's on. That's really, really exciting. Now, the thing with, if we're going to compare them to Verhoeff, he doesn't defend half as well as Verhoeff does.
No, he doesn't.
Verhoeff is a significantly better in his own end, and that's the biggest difference. Like, you know, even something as simple as a 2-on-1, you can see Reid struggling on which decision to make and how much to really commit to it. Offensively, I think those things come a little more second nature to him when he's got the puck on his stick. That's where he's at his most comfortable, and you love that from him. You love that part of his game. A little more well-roundedness just in terms of consistency. But again, like you said, he'll hit people. He can rub guys out. He shows that ability to play in the defensive zone. But it's a consistency thing for him, and I think a confidence thing, and just a little more attention. But I think Reid things well offensively. Like the things that he needs to clean up defensively, I think are teachable for him. I don't look at that player and say this is a guy. I don't look at him and say this guy lacks hockey sense. I say this guy just needs to polish a little bit more than anything.
Yeah. Defensive, like he
throws a pizza or two, Darren, but he's 16.
But it's not the pizza portion. No, it's not that. He's just he gets boxed out in front of the net too easily at times. Like, I don't like, it's just some of that stuff happens a little too easy. Like, he gets guys like just get by him inexplicably a little too easily than they should for, you know. I think he skates very well backwards, but then when he's forced to kind of do a pivot, that's where he kind of gets caught a little flat-footed, and the guy gets by him. His defensive stick also needs to improve. He has a very weak defensive stick. That's maybe his biggest flaw. Whereas I think if a Verhoeff, his defensive stick is quite strong. It gets on a lot of pucks, and it makes for instance, we talked about it. Those good players that were playing, say for Spokane, the last game I watched them play, they can't get by him because that stick is just in the way all the time. Now, at times, do I think that's like, can that improve? Sure.
I think he tracks. I think he tracks his guys well. Like you said, like he can lose the leverage battle there, but he's on the guy, right? He can get beat, but he's on the right guy, and he is willing to get his body into shooting lanes, and he does get his stick into passing lanes. So in that sense, he's good. But again, and that's why I think that like you can teach those things, because you can teach a guy how to get body position a little bit, right? You can teach a guy, okay, well, you need to pivot here a step earlier or whatever, or a step later, depending on the case. Like, but in the sense of, I don't see him running around in his zone. He's not like a crazy puck watcher. He doesn't leave his guy wide open back door. So like those things are there, which is why I think like, I'm like, okay, I have time to witness some progress here.
Yes. And the other thing is too, like, I think there is potential for a decent rush defender here when he's, again, so one of the games I scouted, they're playing at Saginaw, and he was matched up against that Saginaw top line, and he played very well against them. And that's because he can keep up naturally with his forwards and backwards skating. He can keep up with those guys and keep good gaps that way. Where he gets into trouble is when the puck kind of gets into the zone, and then he kind of gets, again, as I said, kind of boxed out, or he just kind of loses a battle. Like, that's what needs to improve. Now, the one thing I do like, though, is that he can win races, though.
Can I give you a counterpoint?
Sure.
Real quick. Do you not kind of expect a guy in his D-1 year? I mean, at December 30th, let's just call it a 16-year-old season, right?
Yeah.
2 days away. So do you not expect that guy to lose battles to 19-year-olds?
Oh, sure. I'm telling you what I saw.
I know.
It's like, doesn't mean it can't improve. We've already gone through this. The things I'm saying, these guys are young, like they're going to improve. We're looking for improvement in that area that he struggled in.
Yeah.
So if he starts the year out and starts, I wouldn't even care if his point total was the same. If he was just firing guys around in the defensive zone and shutting guys down, I'm like, this is a top 5 pick then. Yeah. I've seen the offensive ability. I want to see him hammer guys. I want to see him just shut guys down defensively. That's the next step for him. The offense is quite good, especially the power play. I think it's kind of actually underrated how good he is on the power play, because a lot of the here
he makes a lot of very clever, nonchalant looking passes.
Junior power plays, though, this is one issue that a lot of people get stuck in, where they're like, wow, this guy had a ton of points in junior. It's when the puck gets stuck on a guy's stick, a defenseman who holds the puck all the time. I hate seeing that. So guy was a great player. What was the issue that we always had with Erik Karlsson all the time? That was on the power play, and the puck actually didn't get moving that much when he was on the power play because he held it all the time.
Well, he'd stand still with it and kind of wait for something to open.
Yes.
Because he knew worst case he could find a lane to get it through.
Yes, which he was good at that part of it. But that part I didn't like. Whereas like I actually like was Shabbat, because Shabbat actually moved the puck quite well. Again, sure. Oh God, Brandstrom. But the point is, he gets the puck, and as soon as he gets the puck, he's making the right. Either the puck's getting moving around, or has an open shot, or he's created a lane to get a shot through. So he's creating a threatening situation every time he has the puck on the power play. Like that is like, this can translate. Now, again, is he as good as like Zane Parekh? No. But Zane Parekh but that was also why I liked him so much, because
Zane Parek's a fucking offensive freak, dude.
Yeah,
I've never seen a junior defenseman like Zane Parekh.
But why is he so good on the power play? Because literally he gets the puck and the puck just starts moving around, because he's just creating an advantage, just firing around. Their power play is so good because the puck's just firing around all the time.
Well, because he's playing chess, dude. He sees it 3 moves ahead, Parekh.
But that's the point I'm making. We have a guy here who he isn't overholding the puck on the power play. He's getting it moving, and he's making good decisions of when to shoot the puck, and he finds shooting lanes to get pucks to net.
I like that he very much on the power play. He's very much, before the puck is on his stick, he's moving his head, he's moving his eyes. He knows where guys are. So before the puck's even out, that's why it doesn't get stuck on his stick, because he already knows before he has the puck what his plan A, B, and C is.
Yes. So I'm going to utilize
very smart player on the
But I'm going to utilize this draft class a bit, okay? So Jackson Smith, for instance. Jackson Smith was kind of labeled as maybe the top 15, kind of had some offensive ability, could maybe translate into a power play guy in the NHL. This is a far superior offensive defenseman to him. Extremely, far superior. He's a much better power play guy. He gets shots through to the net better, and I think he moves the puck better than him. He's not a better rush defender than him. No, and Jackson Smith is more willing to hit guys. This guy's a better skater than him too. And you think Jackson Smith's a great skater? I think this guy's a better skater than him.
I think Chase Reid is I compared him to a gazelle. I think his skating is quite good.
Yeah, this guy's but
imagine
again, by just that, I think his offense is a bit underrated. Like this guy has the ability to put up some points, and it might go a little bit under the radar.
I think he could put up 80 points, 80 plus points.
It's very possible if they're a good team. Yeah,
he was a point a game last year.
Yeah, he was over a point per game last year.
Yeah, 40 points in 39 games. So that paces out to 70 points already, right?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, again,
85 point defenseman that's 6'3" who can skate like that. That's going to be a very high pick.
I'm not going to say Zane Parekh, but I think this guy this is a solid offensive defenseman prospect.
Look, it's going to be a long time before we see someone who's Zane Parekh offensively in his draft year. So
but
even a fair comparison.
But this is a much better body than Zane Parekh. So
it is. Yes. I think I think you're looking to see. I think Yakimchuk is the right one because that's a guy that had a lot of offense, a lot of shot, like really heavy shot. 71 points, right, in his draft year. So and he was 7th overall.
I don't think he'll score as much as Yakimchuk, but yeah, the point total.
No, he's not going to get 30 goals, I don't think.
No.
However, I think he could probably have more points, and he could probably, he's a better skater, likely. Doesn't have the physical edge, but like there's like Prek he doesn't have the same frame, right? And he's better offensively. So like I think he might fall offensively somewhere in between those two guys, where he has a better offensive season than Yakimchuk did, but not quite to the level that Prek did. Ironically, Prek goes 9, Yakimchuk goes 7. That's what the NHL thinks about size, but that's a completely different thing. But all that to say, he's not exactly like either one of those guys, but I think the point we're getting at is this is a very realistic, I would almost say likely top 10 pick if we see almost any progression in terms of the consistencies in the decision making there.
Another thing, he's supposed to go to Michigan State in a year or two. I think it's still up in the air when he wants to go. And I think definitely another year of junior is obviously good for him. And then we'll see where he's at. But I do think that maybe a college year or two might be really good for his development to get him acclimatized to a more physical environment and be a little bit more detailed defensively.
But like we'll have a really good idea of that by November.
Yeah.
You'll be able to tell once they get 10, 12 games into their season and they're kind of into it. You'll be able to see if there's been a big step or not and what kind of progression there has been. And that's the nice thing this year. We're getting to review all these guys preseason, so it's going to be a lot more apparent what kind of steps they've taken, right? Because we're going to review these guys several times this year, these top guys especially. So I am interested to see, like you said, if he puts on a bunch of strength, if we see a much more stronger player who's able to, because if we get a guy that can really compete and at his frame, I would say even go so far to say is if we can see a guy who thrives in those kind of battle situations and those one-on-ones in his own end, now you're really talking a high pick here.
Well, there's multiple ways he can improve too, which is good. Like I think that's like again, if I think that change of speed, that edge work gets better, I think that's ultimately he's going to win a lot more battles and a lot more races in the D zone now. If he's physically, again, that skating gets a little better, the strength gets a little better, he might engage in a few more battles physically and win a few more of them. All improves. Like it's, again, it's little things can really improve a guy, but also if he actually engages physically a bit more, doesn't get hurt, realizes, hey, I'm bigger than these guys, I can leverage these guys. Maybe something clicks and he starts doing it more. Like that's kind of what happened, especially when, again, these are young guys. Like some guys aren't, got to remember some of these guys, like these guys were basically kids like 4 years ago. Like they're like they've just grown into their body. So again, you're never, some guys, it might just take a little bit for it to click. They're like, oh crap, I'm 6'3" and $195. Like I should just be pounding on these guys. Like,
so what do we think in terms of projection and role? What's your thoughts based on what you've seen so far?
What do you mean? Like as an NHL guy? I legitimately think this guy can play on a number one power play. I think it's possible. I just don't know if he's a top, like, I don't know if, like, I look, the body's here. I definitely see potential where he could be like a guy who could develop into a top pair defenseman because he has the skill sets for it. I mean, I haven't seen nothing defensively that has shown me that though. So, I mean, like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like this is all projection.
Well, that's what it is. That's
what, but I do see
what we're getting, Darren. We're projecting.
Well, yes, I do think though, from what I've seen, the power play, I think translates. I think that translates. I think the puck moving can translate. I think the speed can translate. And I think the puck handling actually translates too. He's a lot better puck handler than a lot of right-hand defense than we've seen. So yeah. It's just, like, again, Verhoeff is like, I think you could just throw Verhoeff into a lineup in a year and a half, and like he'll be a quality NHL defenseman probably right away. May not be any.
Verhoeff has a lot less. He's a more well-rounded prospect at this point.
But he has NHL skills that like translate into long career, like
yeah,
pretty.
He's more easily projectable.
Yeah,
you know what you're like. Yeah, you're not worried about. There's not really. Verhoeff doesn't have. I can't point to one thing and be like, this is going to keep you out of the league.
Yeah, but yeah, no, you're right. Like that's. But I also don't. No, nothing will. I don't know. Like an injury would keep him out of the league. Like that would be.
Yes, that would be it.
Yeah,
I do think these two guys could end up being in a similar conversation. There is a world where Verhoeff gets punished for playing in a tougher, lower scoring league, and Reid excels as the offensive catalyst for a decent team and puts up a pile of points. So that, like, I could see a world. Look, and I want to be clear, like right now, I do have Verhoeff ahead of Reid. However, there is a world that exists to me based on circumstance, and because you don't know how guys progress from one year to the next, there is a world where these two guys could be in a bit of a closer conversation. There's also a world where Verhoeff is just by far the best defenseman, and
there's also there is a world where he's dominates the NCAA.
There's a world where he challenges McKenna.
Yeah.
So
yes, there you go. Remember McKenna in the field. I might take the field.
Well, depends what the field's at. If it's like 8 or 9 to 1, throw $50 on that. Why not?
Look, I just with Verhoeff again. I do worry a bit, and again, I know we were the ones that were kind of hammering on Hagens early in the year, but Hagens chose to challenge himself early in the year against again good competition, and it's just a little bit harder to translate in that league than it would be in the CHL. I think again. Like James Hagens would have put up probably 90, 100 points in the CHL. Like, would that be outrageous?
James Hagens would have put up 100 points with one arm tied behind his back.
Okay, that's aggressive, but he would have, and he probably would have been. I'm honestly going to say he probably would have been drafted higher because of it.
He would have been 2 points a game.
Okay, no, he would not have been 2 points. What are you talking about?
There
was like one guy that was 2 points per game.
It would have been 1.75. It would have been 100 points, Darren, at least.
I just said he would have 100 points.
Yeah, you don't think he would have been 10 points more than O'Brien or 15 points more than O'Brien? That's almost 2 points a game.
Maybe. I don't know. Who's he playing for? Like I don't know. The point is he would have actually had a big time offensive year with the CHL team.
We need to get someone. We need to get a model. Someone needs to model this for us.
There's so many models. We don't need to talk about models. Too many graphs. Just watch the game with your eyes. Someone said, sorry, before we go, someone posted that today on Twitter. Is like, who knows it wasn't hockey, it was a basketball question where the guy's like, who knows the game more? The guy who watches 2 games a night and watches with his eyes, or the guy who barely watches and looks at the graph all the time?
Yeah,
I'm going to let others answer that question.
Well, I'm sure there are graph guys who also watch.
Yeah, but the question was the graph guy who doesn't watch full games. Like he watches highlights in the graph, but the graph has a lot of good information. So that's like, you kind of have to do both. But I'd argue the eye test is still always the thing you need to look at and trust the most.
Why are we talking about James Hagens CHL point projections right now? We're off track here. Let's get this back on the rails. All right. Keaton Verhoeff is a top what pick? I know, listen, we're recording here July 31st. Second overall, Darren, top 2 pick when it's all said and done.
He's just too safe, and he's a right-hand shot. You can't find those guys. Quality NHL right-hand defenseman with potential to have some. He scored 21 goals as a 16-year-old.
Yep.
Like he'd have to have 0 points in college, honestly, to like really fall.
Well, I think him really falling, quote unquote, really falling would be 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
That's if he
honestly, and I just want to say, I actually expect him to be quite good in college. I think he'll be more than fine.
You'll see like the maturity in his game and the skills that he has will be on full display there, because the same way that he shuts down guys, he's going to shut down college guys the same way.
Yeah.
And his defensive skill is going to be amplified there. And then if you see the improvement in the puck game, then you're really like, then you're looking at a guy who maybe could challenge for the top spot. I still think it'll be McKenna, but
yeah,
I don't disagree. I think we're looking at second or third overall here.
I just don't think he'll have a point per game in college, but I mean, like
he might.
He could. I think he'll get like 20 points, something like that. He gets like 20 points. He's a dominant D that's playing top 4 minutes at a like North Dakota, a really good program. Like that's really good. Like that's
yeah. I mean, look, I think I agree. We're probably looking at a top 2. I was going to say top 3 pick was going to be my answer. Chase Reid will be a top what pick?
He can be a top 10 pick.
I'm going to say I was going to say top 10 as well.
He can be, but again, it's just there's a lot more up in the air with him that needs to be worked on.
But again, 6'3" right-hand defenseman with elite skating and elite. Oh, I don't know if elite puck moving, but it's fucking high end.
Yeah. So, I mean, I need to watch more of the guys this year.
Of course, we need to watch more of the guys. We're talking shit out of our ass in August, Darren. We're just at this point in the game.
But I've watched this guy. Like I can talk about him. Like it's just I need to watch a few more guys to see where like I would really truly have him ranked. But I mean, the talent level here.
That's why it's a bold preseason prediction.
The talent level here screams a top 10. I mean, it screams a top 10 pick. Like the body's good. He has skills that teams don't have. Like they don't have guys who can move the puck at that size. They don't have guys who can move at that size. They don't have guys who can run a power play at that size. Like talking about last year, like again, it's the same last name, like Cam Reid, like the whole reason that we thought he could potentially be a top 20 pick was because there was very few offensive defensemen. Like there just weren't that many of them.
Zach Werenski.
Yeah, maybe. Like that's not a bad comp.
There's a model of a guy who had, excellent mobility, excellent instincts offensively, had some inconsistencies defensively, and now he's one of the top paid players in the league.
It's not a bad comp at all. Like again, he has to improve just like every other prospect does. And you could see the path where these things can improve. There's lots of ways he can improve. There's lots of ways that he can improve that his game goes to another level. Maybe he could even be higher than a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I really, really, I like him. I got, like I said, saw him in person a couple times, and he would have been.
Let me put it to you this way, Rocco.
He would have been top 15 pick last year, top 20 for sure.
Well, but like when I saw him, like I try to go into games not knowing. There's some guys I'll know, but I like going to games.
I was there to watch Brady. I was there to watch fucking Brady Martin, and I'm like, who is this defenseman, and why is he not on any list? And I'm like, oh well, he's next year's draft.
Yeah, I don't
you didn't have to watch for him. He stood out.
Yeah, I don't like going to games and knowing a lot about the other team. Like I might know a couple of guys, just like, again, we've scouted them, or like there's a couple guys I've really reviewed, but I don't want to know everybody. So I want to go into the game and like, oh, like that guy's good.
Yes.
And then you look out, oh, this guy's young. Okay, that makes sense. Like this guy's got some skills. Like
the nature of what we're doing, we are going to know. Like, sorry, it's not. We're going to know who some of the top guys are, but that's what I'm saying. I went there to watch Brady Martin, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this Martin kid because everyone's talking about him. And then I'm like, okay, who is this defenseman?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just Chase Reid, right? But to your point, I agree, because that's one of the things that I look for. I look for a guy that I don't have to look for, if that makes any sense. Because when there's a guy that just stands out consistently on his own, you don't have to follow him around. He just makes good plays and catches your eyes. And typically, for forwards, for sure, and not as much for defense, but the puck kind of follows them around the ice. Is a pretty good indicator. So guys that stand out without having to you really kind of specifically going to watch him. You really like that, and I did notice that from him.
Yeah, it takes your perceived bias is gone, right? It's like because look, it's not a bad thing, but it just needs to be noted when you know stuff about a guy, like a bias does creep in. I'm well aware that a bias creeps in with me with some players. I'm well aware of that.
So that happened to me with Martone. First time I got to see him live last year, and I had seen the highlights and this and that, and you watch him passively in games. So like it's not like the first time I'd ever laid eyes on the kid. It was the first time I saw him live, and I went in with all his expectations, and he just had a blah game. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. He still put up a point or two. Like he was fine. He was fine. And I was like, oh, that sucked because I had all this. Whereas if I had just thought nothing, I'd been like, oh, this guy's going to be a really high pick. He has all these tools. But I went in with this notion that I'm going to go watch a superstar guy, and I was like disappointed. But you're right. Like that you try to keep it out, but you can't keep bias.
It's hard to. You have to take that into consideration when you're watching.
As long as you're aware of them, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Everyone has them.
One guy I'll go back to this one. Sam O'Reilly was a guy I saw first time I saw him, had no freaking clue who he was. And then he's playing on
Sam O'Reilly.
Yeah. And he's playing with Cowan and Barkey. I'm like, this guy's really good. This guy's doing a lot of good things out here. It just kept happening. Then you look it up. Oh, he's draft eligible. He's a C-rated prospect.
Well, that was insane.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, he's not. Like, this guy's good.
Yeah. No,
but now I have my bias is just all over the place because I've watched him so many times. So like I don't know. Anyway, Chase Reid, good player. I would like to see him improve on a few things. This guy has the potential to be a top 10 pick.
I completely agree. Let's leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to continue again with a mix of team prospect features. We're gonna ideally try to talk to someone from every team in the league and keep that going. That's been fun, and hopefully I know it's team specific, so hopefully you guys are watching, even for the teams that aren't your team, just to learn about other teams. We've learned a lot, so continue with that and continue with our 2026 draft profiles moving forward. Let us know who you want us to see next. I've got some ideas on who we should do. It might be time to take a trip overseas with the Holinka coming up and look at some Euros. But we're going to get a few more prospect profiles in before the Holinka. And then draft season really, really kicks off. I'm excited for it. Boyce, it's getting late. Let's go to bed. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
See you later.